have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the opportunity to come together to discuss matters in our community. Grant these professional men and women your divine guidance in addressing matters placed before them. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I please get a roll call?
Mr. Trusclair, Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Harding, Mr. Michelle, Mr. Amity, Mr. Domain,
Here.
Mr. Darren Guidry, Mr. Babin, Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Yep.
Madam Chairwoman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. 6 o'clock, council convenes as a board to review to consider written appeals to the tax assessment as presented by the Terrebonne Parish Assessor. Mr. Lonnie?
Lonnie Robier, Terrebonne Parish Assessor.
1 second, sir.
Y'all can hear me now? Okay. Lonnie Grabert, Terrebonne Parish Assessor. We had one appeal this year with the ERA. We have been after them for a couple months to supply us with more information. About 2 weeks ago, they hired a new tax rep. So they have been giving us the information we needed to revalue these properties. I gave a paper in. I'm requesting y'all to accept the $73,974,133, which is a decrease from what he was protesting due to what they've given us to revalue these properties. So I just ask that y'all accept my my numbers and let it go to the tax commission.
Assessment as requested.
We have a motion to accept by Mr. Michel and a second by Mr. Dave Abbott, Mr. Steve Trusclair. I'm sorry. Mr. Steve Trusclair, do you have a light?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Lonnie, look at the backup. It's showing Bristol as the owner, and we're showing ERA on the. Are they owned by the same company?
Yeah, they merged together. Okay. So it's Bristol ERA Helicopters LLC now. They've never really given us what they wanted to be assessed as, so we just been carrying this over.
Okay, it just had me kind of confused.
Yeah, no, they merged a couple years ago. Yes.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr.
Have a good night.
Approve the minutes of the regular council session held on August 23rd, 2023.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dirk Guidry, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas. Motion passes. Distribute the minutes of the regular council session held on September 13th, 2023. Item 1, general business. Proclamation proclaiming the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and the day of October 5th, 2023 as Paint the Parish Purple Day. And I will read this proclamation. City of Houma, Louisiana, Parish of Terrebonne, a proclamation. Whereas a woman is beaten every 9 seconds in the United States, and whereas 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 7 men have been severely physically abused by an intimate partner, and 1 in 15 children are exposed to domestic violence each year, and 90% of these children are eyewitnesses to the violence, and whereas Louisiana ranked 5th in the homicide rate among female victims killed by male offenders in single offender incidences. In 2019, over 5,000 adult women per year living in Louisiana will experience domestic violence. And whereas the Haven provided a safe home for 87 children and 101 women fleeing domestic violence and answered 1,165 domestic violence and sexual assault crisis calls and assisted 69 domestic violence survivors in filing temporary restraining orders in 2022. And whereas the problem of domestic violence is not confined to any group or groups of people, but crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers, is sustained by societal indifferences, and is devastating to society as a whole. And whereas victims should have support to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and domestic abusers should be punished to the full extent of the law. While important partnerships have been formed among criminal justice agencies, allied professionals, and victim services to assist victims of domestic violence and their families. And whereas it is important to recognize the compassion and dedication of the individuals who provide services to victims of domestic violence and work to increase public awareness of domestic violence and its prevalence, and to eliminate it through prevention and education. And whereas our parish has a moral obligation to work to prevent domestic violence, to address its brutal and destructive effects, and to make ending domestic violence a priority. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Terrebonne Parish Council, on behalf of the parish president and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And be it further resolved that Thursday, October 5th, 2023, be proclaimed as Paint the Parish Purple Day, and that all citizens be urged to wear purple to show their support in the work to end domestic violence, to speak out against domestic violence, and to support those local efforts to assist victims of these crimes in finding the help and healing they need. This is presented on the 27th day of September 2023, signed by myself and Parish President Dove, and endorsed by the entire Terrebonne Parish Council. Is there anyone here from the Haven to accept this proclamation tonight? Please come up. Thank you.
Cooking it together. Yep. You guys say a few words.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Paige Pellegrin. I'm the Domestic Violence Program Coordinator. And on behalf of the Haven, I want to thank Parish President Dove and all the council members for recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence during her lifetime, and annually, approximately 3,000 women die due to domestic violence injuries. Domestic violence is shielded by secrets, thrives from misinformation and myths about the root causes. October provides an opportunity to not only locally, but nationally shine a light on the realities and impact domestic violence has on families. We invite all of you here tonight and the entire community of Terrebonne to paint the parish purple on October 5th and to join us on October 17th at 6 p.m. for our annual candlelight vigil to honor the voices of survivors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, we have a light. Mr. Michel?
Ladies, I want to thank y'all all for coming out. What y'all are doing is so valuable for a man to think it's okay to lay hands on a woman, much less the woman they should most revere in their lives, is appalling. And I'm grateful for the help that y'all are providing to these women, and know that y'all and these women are in my prayers. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Michel. Item B, a commendation commending the St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Store of Houma on its 60th anniversary and its continuing contributions toward promoting charity and community in Houma, Terrebonne. Mr. Danny Babin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, it's a pleasure to read this. I was able to be with them this morning with the bishop and the volunteers and the workers at the St. Vincent store. It's such a worthy organization, such a worthy thing for Terrebonne Parish. So I'll read this. Whereas for 60 years, the St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Store has been in operation serving the needy and providing for the community. And whereas in September 1963, the thrift store was first opened under the Archdiocese of New Orleans as a member of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul with the mission to love and serve the poor with simplicity and humility. And whereas the thrift store is a nonprofit organization which is operated by individual donations and the sale of donated items, and through the dedication and untiring efforts of many volunteers over the years. And whereas the thrift store thrives to assist those in need or suffering from natural disasters, homelessness, or unemployment by working closely with many other service groups such as Catholic Charities USA, the American Red Cross, and the Terrebonne Churches United Food Bank. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Council, on behalf of the parish president and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, that the St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Store of Houma be commended for its 60th anniversary and for its continuing contributions towards promoting charity and community in Terrebonne and Houma, Terrebonne. Presented this 27th day of September 2023, signed by our parish president, Gordon Dove, our council chairperson, Jessica Domang, and endorsed by the entire parish council. So thank you all very much, ladies, for what y'all do. And we'll come up there and
Hi, I'm Debbie Mitchell. I'm co-manager along with Lacey, Marcel, and Connie Griffin. We've been at St. Vincent for quite some time. We thank y'all for the invitation tonight and appreciate the acknowledgement. We try our best to do what we can for the parish to help the needy, the homeless, also for our victims. And also, as most of you probably know, we have the pharmacy here in Houma for those in need. Thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity.
We have one light. Mr. Guidry.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'd like to thank y'all for what y'all do, especially in the trying times that we're all in now with everybody, all the economy hurting and everybody's hurting. But I'll tell you, that's my wife and my daughter's favorite store to go shop. So
I see them sometimes.
Thank y'all for what y'all do. I mean, it helps out a lot of people that are in need. And
we appreciate it.
Especially with the food bank and everybody else. It's a tremendous job you guys did, and it's a job that's needed in Terrebonne Parish at this time. So thank y'all.
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Mr. Michel. Ma'am, we still have a few more lights.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Michel.
Thank you. Again, thank you all so much for everything. Just a note for everyone out there, and I'm not just bragging, I may be setting an example. My 11-year-old granddaughter does an annual fundraiser for the St. Vincent de Paul Pharmacy.
Right.
And you know, hopefully that she'll grow into someone who will continue to support nonprofits and want to help others. And so I'm so glad she chose that organization to do this for. And so again, thank y'all for everything. I don't know, my late brother worked there for quite some time.
Angelo.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course my sister-in-law. Yes. So you know, the St. Vincent de Paul Society is near and dear to my heart, and I'm so grateful for y'all to continue its work.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Item C, an informal update by parish administration on the emergency actions taken regarding local marsh fires. Mr. Dove, do you want to take this one? Can you please press your... Mr. Dove.
Yes, it's an informal, it's informational. Thank you. Okay, the first slide. Terrebonne Parish was never faced with 4,000 acres, approximately 4,000 acres of peat moss burning in the Bayou Cane, Highway 311, all from Highway 90 to Savannah Road, which is approximately 5 miles, by 1.5 miles. You know, we started with working, the fire department, who is the fire district, Bayou Cane, started trying to put it out, and of course it was such a large spread area, the fire departments could only work along the roads and the levees, and so Terrebonne Parish stepped in to go ahead and start solving the problem. But I want to thank Bayou Cane, Bayou Blue, Bayou Black, Shreva, Houma Fire Department, and of course Bayou Cane for working and keeping it off the levees, keeping it off the roads. And well, you know, we turned around and under my direction, I went ahead, we went ahead and put 24 pumps out there, pumping up to 184 million gallons a day, over 1.2 billion gallons, because peat moss will burn for months, if not years. And it was so smoky, it was affecting people that was living a few miles away from it. So, you know, I want to thank Joey Seahand, Public Works, and GIS Engineering, also the Sheriff's Department, Tim Saunier, our Roads and Bridges for blocking off Savannah Road. It really was an effort by quite a few people. And we pumped, and we pumped. We got every pump we could get our hands on, Associated Pump, Lemoyne Pump, United Renault pumps, and we had from 24-inch to 20-inch to 15-inch to 12-inch down to 8-inch. And we had them circling from Highway 90 all the way around to Savannah Road on Bayou Cane, and then behind Lumen Christi and behind Allimore. I want to thank Mr. Allimore for allowing us to go on his property off of 311. And it really could have been a lot worse. You know, we've probably burnt, 1,400 acres was burnt, but we probably saved 2,700 acres of marsh. Remember, this marsh was originally wet. It always stayed wet, but like everything else with this drought, it dried out. And then the peat moss became a fuel, and once it was ignited, it just took flames. And I see Mr. Lee in the audience. I want to thank you for allowing us to go on your property at Schaffer Plantation, and it was a really concerted effort. And it's completely out now, so I'm going to go through some slides right quick just to show you the fire, and then after it was out, so if we could go to the next one. That's the declaration of emergency we did immediately. That really releases everything so we can move forward. Remember, everything we're going, we have pre-positioned prices with most of these guys and these companies, so it was once we get the emergency declaration set, we can move forward. So next. And the next slide is you can see the 4,000 acres. On the left is Savannah Road, on the right is Highway 90, the bottom is Bayou Cane, the upper area is Whiskey Bayou. And this is actually a retention that we're building a pump in to eventually retain it. This is owned by Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government that was donated by Shell Oil, 4,000 acres. The next one gives you another aspect of it. And the reason it says stormwater retention is that what it's capable of holding. And once we build a retention out of it, next. As you can see, the glow in the back, this is when we were installing the pumps, building the levees. And like I said, we had 24 levees up. 24 pumps pumping completely around this. And we started pumping 70 million gallons per 24 hours. We got up to 140 million gallons, then 172, and then finally 180 million gallons a day. If you look at the next one, you can see we were trying to dig a canal back towards the flames back there to be able to, with that bush buggy excavator, to be able to put it out. This was a serious, serious fire that could have had a lot more implications than what it is. And like I say, my hat's off to our guys. And, Steve Pondville and Joey Seahand pretty well led the teams for me. On the next one, 180 million gallons of water every 24 hours, about 1.2 billion gallons every 7 days, and we actually more than that now, and it's a little less than 4,000 acres that was done. And if you look at the next one, that's building the levees with the pumps. Now, we did have a problem. You know, a local channel from New Orleans came down and actually came with Mr. Gerald Michel, and they had no idea what was going on this project. So the next thing you know, they're on the news giving ill facts, like we're pumping with 10 pumps. And, you know, if anyone in this room is on an emergency job and they don't know what's going on, get in touch with our guys and we'll give you the information. The biggest thing is that we inform the public. Over here, we're telling them 24 pumps, and this news article, this news out of New Orleans that don't know what's going on is over here saying 10 pumps. So that really, I had a lot of calls about that. That cannot happen on an emergency job. So the next one. There you can see where we built the levee to retain the water. Next one is some of the pumps in place. That's the Bayou Cane levee. We were pumping out of Bayou Cane. Now, actually, Bayou Cane is not a replenished bayou, so we had to pump out of Bayou Terrebonne around the Bonanza pump station with 4 pumps to replenish that. Now, Whiskey Bayou was no problem because it eventually ties into the intercoastal. Next one, you can see the amount of work that was put on out there. And next, there again, that's just pumps. You know, we were putting, like I said, we ended up with 24 pumps. And next, and there again, that's Whiskey Bayou right there, which has an endless supply of water out the intercoastal. And if we could go, if you could flip them just real slow at a time, I'll explain them, please, ma'am. There again, that's pumping out of Whiskey Bayou. That's pumping into the system. As you can see, there's some 20-inch, 12, 15-inch pumps that we pumped to get the amount of water we were getting. And if you the next one, you can see the smoke. Keep going, please. You can see you can see the smoldering. Peat moss will catch fire and it will smolder. And we were fighting both of them. And you know, this is a Terrebonne Parish consolidated government. We completely put the pumps in, and if we could keep going, you can see the greenery we saved. That's you can see the water coming in, and that is where it was burning. So we were cutting it off, trying to save. Not trying, we did save thousands of acres of marsh, and that's freshwater marsh and swamp. If we could keep going. And you can see where it burnt, and then, of course, the water's inundated, all that. That's all been put out. People's homes. You know, there was people in their homes that were staying up at night wanting to know if we had another Maui, from Hawaii, that they were going to get inundated by this fire or this smoke. And so it really, really got to be pretty serious. And but if you could go on, you could see how much is burnt. There again, this is when we started cutting it off with the water, and we like I said, we were pumping about 172 million gallons, 180 million gallons at that time, and really inundating the fire. You can see as it started shrinking. Keep going. As you can see, that's what a lot of it is being put out. All that vegetation was saved, and just a tremendous job by everyone. And if you go on. You can see where that's burnt and where we stopped. You can see the water. We took 4,000 acres that was high and dry. You could walk across it with tennis shoes and put it underwater. If you could go ahead. There again, that's just some more pictures. Please go. There again, you can see where it had burnt. And you can see it's all inundated with water as we speak. And keep going. And there again, you can see there's just a massive amount of water. Great job by everyone to put this thing out. And meanwhile, the fire department was making sure it didn't reach the roads or the levees. So there again, I want to thank all the fire departments. Keep going. And you know, you can see the after effect where we started. It was being put out with the vegetation that was saved. See, it came all the way to Savannah Road. As you can see, it burned all the way to Savannah Road, and until we could inundate it with water. And we are going to keep the pumps out there. Keep going. That's the last one? That's the last one? Okay. And like I said, tremendous job by the people of Terrebonne, Dave Rome, Joey Seahead and his group. GIS Engineering was instrumental, and Sheriff Tim Saunier with his guy Earl, who does his drone. We were constantly checking and directing the water with drones. We had Marsh buggy excavators, and what a monumental task to save a lot of people from more misery for weeks, if not months. So with that, I thank you, and good job, well done.
Thank you, President Dove. Mr. Michaud.
Yeah, since Mr. Dove felt it necessary to bring up my name, WGNO contacted me, and I can assure you I did not give them any information on the number of pumps we had. I gave the best information that I had, and that information had to come from various sources because when a text message or a message was sent to council members, 2 council members were once again left out. Okay, and my only point is, hatred is ugly, and I'm just going to pray for you, sir.
Mr. Dove.
Well, first of all, Gerald, you made up 10 pumps. You made it up. You had them out there. It was a photo op for your election. You had nothing to do with this project. So don't sit there and pray for me. You need to pray for yourself because you lied to the media. You did not know what was going on. Stay away from these jobs. You never have nothing to do with any of our jobs, but you saw a photo op and you were out there making sure you took a picture for your election coming up. Thank you.
Mr. Michaud.
I don't know what to say, Mr. Dove, except that you don't know what you're talking about on this issue. So,
That's true. That's all you got to do. And you can smile.
Mr. Dove, did you have another light, sir?
No, I'm through with that, guy.
Okay. And I do want to thank you. I went out there and I saw the project, and it was a phenomenal job. And my concern was the areas that had already burnt, what's going to happen. But when you go out there and you go and you see the areas that were scorched, you've already got seedlings coming up. You've already got grass growing, and it's already replenishing itself. So I can imagine it's not going to take very long for it to get back to where it was. And so that was very refreshing to see. So once again, good job, Mr. Dove, and good job to your administration. I thought y'all did a fabulous job. Mr. Harding? We have a motion to go to 6:30 public hearing by Mr. Harding and a second by Mr. Brian Pleasure. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas. We're going into 6:30 public hearing. Item A, an ordinance to declare as surplus 2 tax properties located at 113 Bearwood Drive, 9.9%, and Gussie Bayou WW 1.79% with percentage interest adjudicated to the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, and to acquire authorization to dispose of said property in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 47-2196. Public once, public twice, third time public.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Gerald Michel. Members, vote your machines. Public is closed. Motion to adopt by Mr. Carl Harding.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas, motion is adopted. Item B, an ordinance to authorize the parish president to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Stark Corporation and execute necessary documents for the construction of a crisis center on immovable property owned by Stark Corporation and to provide for related matters. Public once, public twice, third time public.
Second.
Motion to close by Mr. Babin and a second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Dirk Guidry and a second by Mr. Danny Babin. Members, vote your machines. We have 7 yeas and show 1 abstention. Motion passes. Item C, an ordinance to amend section 21-30 of the parish code to change the name of Southside Park to Hazel H. Navarre Park in honor of Miss Hazel H. Navarre. Public once? Public twice? Yes, sir, you can come up. Give us a second. We're going to turn on your mic, and if you could state your name and address, please, sir.
1102 Wallace Street, Houma, Louisiana. I would like to thank the council, the parish president, for considering Sister Hazel Navarre, an educator, a principal that in 1963-64 at Southside School, when Dr. King was assassinated, she held that school together. And every May, we had a May Day on that park. My heart is hurting right now because she raised me. I went to Southside and Southdown. If I did something wrong at Southside, she whipped me with a paddle. And then turned around and put me in her car and brought me to 1102 Wallace Street, where I got another whooping. And my love for her goes deep. When I decided to go to college, I went to Delgado Community College in New Orleans, and I went to her, and I said, Miss Navarre, I need a place to stay when I go to New Orleans. And she said, Clyde, you can stay in my apartment. I stayed in the apartment through Delgado with a associate degree in funeral service, to go to Southern University at New Orleans, to get a bachelor's degree in social work, all because of her. And I would recommend, and I would thank you all. We have some members from the church, Sister Diane, my brother Clarence. We all owe a great deal to this woman. This community owes a great deal for her and the legacy that she gave us and the opportunity that she showed us. And I thank you all for the consideration. God bless you and God keep you.
Thank you. Public 3 times. Motion to close by Mr. Gerald Michel, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. Motion to adopt by Mr. Carl Harding, a second by Mr. Brian Pledger. Members, vote your machines. Mr. Carl Harding.
Yeah, I attended Southside Elementary some years ago, and I know Mr. McGuire also. And I was there when Mr. Kennedy was assassinated. But one thing that's unique when this was presented to me is that Miss Hazel H. Navarre was an educator and she was a principal of school. And oftentimes we look at the progress of females in society. And this time, at that time, she held it down pretty good. But not only that, she's barren, and everybody was her child. Regardless of who you were, she was educated outside Terrebonne Parish. And what's unique here is that Southside Park is where the original place where they had Southside Elementary School is no longer there. So it serves as a has a dual purpose to it of actually naming that park for someone that's been a principal at that location for a number of years. And hopefully we can get that marked place where we can actually also honor the site of being the area where South Side Elementary was. So I appreciate you guys' vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Pledger.
Thanks, Madam Chair. There's a few people here that are here representing Ms. Navarre, but, and the people who don't know, not only everybody's putting emphasis on her being an educator, but she was also a pillar in the community where she fed people, she clothed people, she took care of people. And I'm willing to bet all of you that one way, shape, or form, she's touched not only the African-American community, but she's also touched everyone else in Terrebonne Parish in one way, shape, or form. With that being said, I feel honored that I have the opportunity to sit here and to be able to be a part of something as monumental as this. My father, he idolized her. And not only that, after all I've said, she could dress. She could dress. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Carl, do you want to vote? Okay. We have 8 yeas. Motion passes. Item D, an ordinance to change the name of Summerfield Place Subdivision, Addendum Number 18, Phase A, to Summerfield Subdivision, Addendum Number 18, Phase A, and Summerfield Place Subdivision, Addendum Number 18, Phase B, to Summerfield Subdivision, Addendum Number 18, Phase B. Public once, public twice, third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Darren Guidry and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. Public is closed. Motion to adopt by Mr. Darren Guidry and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas. We have a motion to go back into regular order by Mr. Steve Trosclair and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas. We're back into regular order. Item 2, staff reports. A presentation of the proposed 2024 parish budget and 5-year capital outlay budget by the parish president. Mr. President, can you please turn your light on, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. And ladies, gentlemen, I respectfully submit our proposal for the 2024 balanced budget for your review. The financial budget totals $251 million and contains $15.4 million in operating capital and 5-year capital outlay. For comparison, the original 2023 adopted budget was $247.7 million with $18.8 million in operating capital and capital outlay. The parish is continuing to recover from Hurricane Ida, and administration is actively pursuing various funding sources to assist in every recovery process and will continue to do so until all needs are met. And I want to thank Candace, her group, the numerous engineering and consulting groups have been working with us on all of this, and we've really been making some headway. During the 2023, we have seen a decrease in the 2023 sales tax collections, which equates to a 5.38 decrease when compared to the same period of time in 2022. Administration implemented a hiring freeze, and which we have done in the past. We do this just to keep spending down until the sales tax collections are up, and a restriction on operating capital purchases in 2023, and prepared the 2024 budget accordingly. Department cuts expenditures and eliminated open positions that would not impact the services provided to citizens. I'm going to repeat, would not impact the services provided to citizens. With these practices in place, we are able to propose the balanced budget. I believe the employees of the parish are our greatest asset, and they should be rewarded for their hard work and dedication and cost of living increase. Therefore, I'm proposing a 2% cost of living adjustment for all parish employees under the direction of the parish president. This will be the 5th cost of living adjustment given for a total of 12% since I have been in office. And if this is implemented, it will be 14% total if this is voted on. For 2024, we are proposing drainage projects, $500,000, quality of life projects, $1.9 million. Now, this is above what's already been budgeted and under construction. Building, 0.5. Public safety, 1.0, economic development, 0.7, utility system, 1.6, sewage system, 2.1. There again, this does not include any FEMA money, any CDBG monies, or any of those monies. I am pleased to submit this balanced budget. This was accomplished with the support of each department. Because of these united practices, we are able to accomplish some great things and provide great services to our residents. In closing, it has been an honor and pleasure to serve as your parish president over the last 8 years, and over the last 12 years. Besides that, I was state representative, chairman of natural resources on the House, a total of 20 years. I will continue to provide my support to the future of our great parish. I would like to thank the parish council, my administration, employees, and residents of our community. Without everyone's support, focus, and dedication, we could not have achieved our goals, and the progress made in Terrebonne Parish would not have been possible. Thank y'all, and I want to again thank Candace and her group for a job well done, and they'll be submitting everything to the council in the upcoming weeks. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dove. Item B, consider the introduction of the 2024 proposed budget, ordering the publication of a summary of same as per section 5-2 of the Home Rule Charter, referring to the proposed budget to the Budget and Finance Committee for review and calling a public hearing on Wednesday, October 11th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Gerald Michel. Second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas. Motion passes. Item C, public wishes to address the council. As per speaker cards in accordance with section 2-07 of the Terrebonne Parish Home Rule Charter, the public will be held and can speak for 3 minutes on any related matter to parish government without discussion or questions and answers on non-agenda items. I do have 2 speaker cards. The first speaker card, Mr. Billy Burrow. He's from the Marine Corps League and would like to speak on the Veterans Memorial District Board. Mr. Burrow, give us 1 second. We're going to turn on your...
Take your time, ma'am.
It's on. Okay. You're on, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, council members. My name is Billy Burrow. I'm a retired veteran of 20 years of military service. I've lived in Terrebonne Parish since 2009, and for the past 3 years, I was on the Veteran Memorial District, serving in, excuse me, within the last year, serving as the vice president until this last month. Last meeting, y'all voted someone in the position I was holding, and when I was asked, I was given different answers. I was told that I didn't reach out to each of you council members to let y'all know that I was rerunning, but yet my application and my recommendation from the Marine Corps League was submitted to the council back in the middle of August. No other board members that I've spoke with have told me that they had to notify the council in the past other outside the application and letter of recommendation, and nowhere online or in the process does it state that you have to do so. So why was it that I had to, and how was I to know that? Is it a courtesy? Yes, it is. But should it be the reason why an active board member holding the vice president position wasn't reelected? I was also told that by multiple council members before me that the museum recommended the member that replaced me and to that position. But according to state and parish law, museum can only recommend people for their position and their position only. Would that be an ethics violation? I believe it would be. The state law states that a museum can only recommend 3 names for their one position. So was the member that took my position one of the three names for the museum and was accidentally put in my position? I would say no, because that person, along with another person in the museum, told a commandant of the Marine Corps League that one of the Veteran Memorial District members, who is also a Museum Foundation board member, told him to run for my position. Speaking of the Marine Corps League has been on the Veterans Board for over 10 years now, up until this month. We are the Marine Corps League is the most active veteran organization in Terrebonne Parish. We just had a golf tournament Monday. I'm also the Veterans Park liaison, or was the Veterans Park liaison on the board. So now neither does the Marine Corps League or the Veteran Park have a position on the Veterans Board. State law states that 4 positions of the board must be veteran organizations for this state. It does not say that one of them has to be from each, each of the, does not state that it has to be for each organization. As of right now, the way the board stands, 3 members on the board is from the American Legion and 1 is from the VVA. Again, there's no Marine Corps League representative anymore. I believe that it's the American Legion's policy that a subordinate cannot recommend a superior for a board position. And from what I was told, this last one, it was a subordinate that voters recommended him. Sorry. If that's the case, how was this individual allowed to be voted in? The council has the ability to change the ordinance to simply state that one person from each active organization will be appointed to one of the 4 positions unless the veteran organization does not submit a name for that position. Also, if a board member is required to contact each council member directly, it should be known to the board and how to do so. In closing, I hope the council sees the issue in hand and corrects the mistake and reappoints the Marine Corps League and Veterans Park representative to the board. Thank you.
I have another speaker card. Miss Kathy Duthay. Please state your name and address, please.
My name's Kayla Dutu, and it's 510 Muller Street. Happens all the time. Yep. Hello, council members. My name's Kayla Dutu. I'm the current president of the Veterans Memorial District Board. I have been a member of the board since 2015. I have sent multiple emails and hand-delivered letters to each of you requesting help to address an issue that we're continuing to have on our board. I would now like to verbally request either an executive session to be held to be able to complete an investigation and trial per Robert's Rules of Order to address issues, or written permission giving our board authority to address and resolve issues ourselves. Thank you.
Seeing no other speaker cards, we're going to move on. Committee reports. Public Services Committee, Mr. Carl Harding. Mr. Harding.
Yes, I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Public Service Committee held on September 25th, 2023. And I have one public hearing, and that is give notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to establish regulations and policies relative to the Rotary Centennial Plaza and calling for a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 11, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.
We have a motion by Mr. Harding and a second by Mr. Steve Trosclair. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas. Motion passes. Item B, Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee, Mr. Gerald Michel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Policy, Procedures, and Legal Committee held on September 25th, and I have no public hearings.
We have a motion by... I'm sorry, we have a motion by Mr. Michel and a second by Mr. Danny Babin. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas. Motion passes. Item C, Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Dirk Guidry.
I'll make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee held on September 25th, 2023, and I have 6 public hearings. Item 1, introduce an ordinance to amend the 2023 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. Whitney Bank Building, $4,333,074. Capital Projects Control Fund, $750,000. American Rescue Plan Demolition Program, $1 million. Houma Police Department, $500. Bayou Country Sports Park, $2 million. Bayou Terrebonne Miter Gate, $165,000. Housing and Human Services, $5,000. Community Development Block Grant, $275,000. They call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 11, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Item 2, introduce an ordinance to authorize the parish president to use funds already in Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government's possession to purchase Terrebonne Parish parcel number 20809 and 20812, situated at 7910 Main Street, Houma, Louisiana, 70360, plus the parking lot situated at the corner of Roussel and Boulanger Streets, currently owned by the Hancock Whitney Bank, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 11, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Item 3, introduce an ordinance in accordance with Chapter 2, Article 10, Section 2-229 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance to authorize the appointment of Anthony J. Alford Insurance Corporation to serve as agent of record for the employees group. Health insurance, self-funded, and reinsurance contract for medical, dental, and pharmacy benefits commencing on January 1, 2024 and effective through December 31, 2024 with the option to renew for 2 additional one-year terms as more fully described herein, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, October 11, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Item 4, introduce an ordinance in accordance with Chapter 2, Article 10, Section 2-229 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance to authorize the appointment of the Lede Corporation doing business as Lede Insurance to serve as the agent producer of record for Houma Fire Department, Comprehensive Fireman's Policy commencing on April 1, 2024 through March 31, 2025, Baller and Machinery coverage commencing on March 1, 2024 through February 28, 2025, with the option to renew for 2 subsequent one-year terms as more fully described herein, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, October 11, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Item 5, introduce an ordinance in accordance with Chapter 2, Article 10, Section 2-229 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance to authorize the appointment of Accurasure, LLC, registered trade name, Lassar Insurance Agency, to serve as the agent producer of record of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government's casualty insurance coverage commencing on April 1, 2024 through March 31, 2025, with the option to renew for 2 additional one terms as more fully described herein, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, October 11th at 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Item 6, introduce an ordinance in accordance with Chapter 2, Article 10, Section 2-229 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance to authorize the appointment of Accurasure, LLC, registered trademark, Lassar Insurance Agency to was that Dan? Larice, excuse me. Larice Insurance Agent to serve as the agent producer of record of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government property and coverage commencing on March 1, 2024 through February 28, 2025, with the option to renew for 2 additional one terms as more fully described herein, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, October 11, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.
We have a motion by Mr. Guidry and a second by Mr. Babin. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas, motion passes. Item 5, streetlights. As per by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas. Item 6, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. Item A, Airport Commission, 1 expiring term on October 26, 2023. Mr. Carlton A. Casey expresses his interest in being appointed. Motion to open, close, and appoint by Mr. Danny Babin and a second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines. 7 yeas. Congratulations, Mr. Casey. Item B, TITA, 2 expired terms, 1 representing each of the following: Parish President and Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Joshua Alford, Chamber of Commerce nominee, submits application and resume for consideration. We have a motion to open, close, and appoint and hold the other. Yes, Mr. Alford, and hold the Parish President's nomination open by Mr. Danny Babin, and a second by Mr. Gerald Michel. Members, vote your machines. 8 yeas, motion passes. Item C, Recreation number 10, 1 expired term on October 26, 2023. Mr. Danny Constant Jr. expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Howard Turner submits application for consideration. We have a motion to open, close, and vote by Mr. Danny Babin, and a second by Mr. Gerald Michel. Members, vote your machines. I'm sorry, we're going to vote. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Trusclair? Mr. Pleasure? Mr. Harding? Mr. Michel? Ms. Domain?
Constant.
Mr. Darren Guidry? Mr. Babin? Mr. Dirk Guidry? We have 4 for Mr. Constance and 4 for Mr. Turner.
Motion to hold us over till the next meeting.
We have a motion to hold this over to the next meeting by Mr. Danny Babin, and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. This will be held over for 2 weeks. Thank you. Item 7, vacancies to various boards, committees, and commissions. Recreation District number 2-3 Board, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. Recreation District number 10 Board, 1 expired term on October 26, 2023. TITA, 1 expired term representing the Parish President. Terrebonne Parish Tree Board, 3 vacancies due to resignations. Coastal Zone Management and Restoration, 4 expiring terms on October 31st, 2023, each representing the following entities: 2 representing the public, 1 representing recreational fishing, and 1 representing property owners, and 1 expired term representing commercial fishing. Veterans Memorial Board, 1 expired term on September 17, 2023, representing the Parish President north of the Intercoastal. Announcements. Mr. Toops, does the Parish President have any announcements? All right. Ms. Candace.
Thank you, ma'am. So we just wanted to bring to attention to the public on the October 14th ballot, there are 2 propositions, tax proposition. 1 is parish-wide and 1 is a road lighting district in number 7. That is a renewal. The parish-wide proposition is to repurpose 1 mil from the health unit millage, which is currently at 1.66. So repurpose 1 mil from that and put it towards school safety. School safety could be both school resource officers, pedestrian markings, security, hardening the doors, or one-way entrance or no-way entrance. So that 1 mil that we are asking to repurpose would bring in an estimated $982,768. So it is just taking 1 current property tax, 1 mil, and repurposing it to another purpose. We just wanted to explain it to. It's not an addition, it's not a renewal, it's just taking it from where it was and repurposing that funding that's already coming in. Yes, sir.
It's not appropriate to ask questions. Thank you, Ms. Candace. Mr. Michel.
If it were appropriate to ask a question, I would ask whether or not the parochial schools would be included in this funding since they all pay taxes. But it's not, so I'm not going to ask. And contrary to what we've seen this evening, blood doesn't really boil, but people do need blood. So if you can, please give blood. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Babin.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that early voting starts this Saturday through the following Saturday. We have elections from governor all the way down. So please, doesn't matter who you vote for, just make sure you go out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Harding.
Yeah, and blood is blue, but then when you have oxygen in it, it turns red. And that red we have out there, I appreciate seeing all that red. out there. There are several other groups that I'm associated with and I'm proud of, just stick together in a unified effort. It actually helps us govern. And regardless of what's going on, I'm pretty sure it's no secret. We're going to actually rectify the problem that's out there for you folk in red. So I'm making that set. And then thank y'all for coming out. I have another announcement that I want to make. Sisters for Strength and Knowledge have an annual 3K breast cancer awareness walk, October 14, 2023, from 8 o'clock to 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Bayou Sports Park. And if you need any information, you should contact Ms. Sheena Henry at 985-688-8402. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Yes, like I say a lot, our shrimpers are still hurting down these bayous. It's getting more and more serious every day. We've got a factory, a dock that buys shrimp that's going to be closing down Saturday for about 10, 12 days because they can't, there's no factories that want to buy shrimp to produce, to peel and process the shrimp. So if you get a chance to go down and help these guys, I mean, 21, 25 off the boat, I mean, you're not going to pay, but off the boat, the shrimpers are getting 60 cents a pound. So please go out there and help them. I mean, this is the backbone of Terrebonne Parish. So please go, if you can, go help them. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to adjourn? Motion adjourned by Mr. Steve Trosclair and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. Good night, everyone.